or $9,000, you can buy a Sundance spa. For a few thousand more, you can buy a jacuzzi. You walk into two different showrooms, you talk to two different salespeople, and you compare what feel like two rival companies fighting for your money. Except they are not rivals. They are the same company. The same corporate parent owns both brands, signs both sets of paychecks, and books both sales under one roof. And Sundance and Jacuzzi are only two of at least 7 hot tub brands that all trace back to that single owner. Most buyers will spend a small fortune agonizing over names that were never actually competing. This video names the 7 brands secretly controlled by one company. And then it shows you something bigger, because the entire hot tub industry has been playing this exact game far wider than one company alone. Here is the strange thing about hot tubs. You already say one of these brand names without even thinking about it. When someone says they are relaxing in the jacuzzi, they almost never mean the brand. Jacuzzi became a generic word for hot tub, the same way people say Kleenex for a tissue or Band-Aid for a bandage. But Jacuzzi is a real company, founded by an Italian-American family whose roots go back to 1915. And today that company is owned by a European private equity firm named Invest Industrial, which completed its takeover on February 25, 2019. That firm did not just buy the Jacuzzi name. Over the previous decade, the company had been quietly buying up its own competition, one brand at a time, and then leaving each one exactly as it was, with its own logo, its own showroom, and its own separate marketing. Think about what that means when you are standing on a store floor. You believe you are weighing independent brands against each other, reading reviews, comparing warranties, feeling like a smart shopper. Meanwhile, the two names at the top of your list may share the same owner, the same engineers, and in some cases the same parts bin. The choice you thought you were making was an illusion, and it is an illusion that is carefully maintained. Because the moment you realize these brands are family, the pressure to pay a premium for the fancier badge quietly disappears. So who exactly falls under this one company? The answer is bigger than almost any buyer would ever guess. Start with the obvious one, Jacuzzi. The brand so famous its name got stolen by the entire category. This is the family that built the first hydrotherapy pump back in 1956 and the first integrated whirlpool bath in 1968, so the pedigree is genuinely real. But underneath the Jacuzzi name today sits Sundance Spas, marketed for decades as a premium competitor, positioned on the floor as if it were fighting Jacuzzi for the very same buyer. It is not fighting anyone, it is a sibling. Then there is Dimension 1 Spas, known across the industry simply as D1, brought in back in 2013. Add Thermo Spas, the direct-to-consumer brand that sold you a custom tub over the phone, acquired in 2012. Add Hydropool, the Canadian brand that still runs its own separate website and still fools buyers into thinking it stands completely alone, folded in during 2017. And here is where it gets almost funny. The same company that sells you an expensive jacuzzi also owns 2 budget brands built to undercut it: Dreammaker Spas and Sunrise Spas, the affordable roto-molded tubs you can plug straight into a normal wall outlet, both acquired in a single deal in February 2020. So when a shopper on a tight budget walks away from the pricey jacuzzi and proudly buys the cheaper Dreammaker instead, feeling like they finally beat the system, the money lands in the exact same corporate account. That is 7 brands: Jacuzzi, Sundance, Dimension 1, Thermo Spas, Hydropool, Dreammaker, and Sunrise. And if you count the brand called Vortex Spas, pulled in during 2021, the number actually climbs to 8. One owner, covering the entire price range from a plug-and-play starter tub all the way up to a luxury backyard centerpiece, and the company still does not stop there. It also licenses the La-Z-Boy furniture name onto a line of hot tubs, so the recliner brand your grandparents trusted is now stitched onto a spa built by the very same machine. 7 brands from one owner sounds like the whole story. It is not even close. Because the single biggest hot tub manufacturer on the entire planet is not Jacuzzi at all, and it is hiding a completely separate stable of brands. That title belongs to a company most hot tub owners have never once heard of: Watkins Wellness, based in Vista, California. Watkins started building spas back in 1977 and became part of a much larger corporation in 1986. Today, it calls itself the largest manufacturer of hot tubs in the world, and it has built more than 1.8 million spas. But you will never find the name Watkins on a single one of them, because Watkins sells everything under other brands. Hot Spring Spas, the premium line you have seen at backyard showrooms. Caldera Spas, marketed as a separate competitor. Free Flow Spas, the budget plug-and-play line. Fantasy Spas, another value brand. And Endless Pools, the swim-in-place fitness pools. Underneath Hot Spring alone sit even more sub-names: High Life, Limelight, and Hotspot, each one dressed up to look like a tier of its own. Every one of those is Watkins. It runs its main plant in Vista and opened a second factory in Tijuana, Mexico, back in 1996. It picked up Caldera in 1999 and Endless Pools in 2015, and today it sells through more than 1,000 dealers in over 70 countries. And Watkins itself is not independent either. It is a division of Masco, a Fortune 500 corporation that trades on the New York Stock Exchange and owns a whole wall of household brands you already know from the hardware store. Now the story gets stranger. If you have ever shopped for a hot tub at Costco, you may have seen a brand called Aquaterra. That is not some warehouse club house label. Aquaterra hot tubs are built by Watkins, the world's largest manufacturer, stripped down and sold under an exclusive name so the price never has to sit on a tag next to a hot spring. And Costco's other spa brand, Evolution, is built by a completely different manufacturer, a Pennsylvania company called Strong Spas, which also quietly builds a brand called Aqualife that shows up at Walmart. Same factories, different store shelves. Now widen the lens, because this pattern is not limited to the two giants. In 2022, a private equity firm called Monomoy Capital Partners quietly bought 3 separate American hot tub brands and bolted them together into one platform. Artesian Spas out of Las Vegas, a company also known as May Manufacturing. Marquise, founded in Oregon back in 1980, and Nordic Hot Tubs out of Michigan. 3 brands that dealers had always pitched as rivals, now 3 products of the very same investors. A firm that manages more than $2.7 billion and treated hot tubs as just another asset to roll up. An Artesian by itself sells under a whole stack of sub-names: Elite, Island, South Seas, Garden, Tropic Seas, each one looking like a totally different product to a shopper flipping through a brochure. Then there is the layer that almost nobody talks about, the factory direct and big box tubs. A single company in Tennessee called El Pai builds Catalina, Dr. Wellness, Tough Spas, Plug and Power, and Hudson Bay, then sells them through more than 90 Aqua Living outlet stores under all those different names. And a California manufacturer called Cal Spas has spent decades building a brand called American Spas that turns up on Amazon, at Home Depot, on Wayfair, and at Walmart, and almost nobody buying it realizes it rolled off the same Pomona, California line as a Cal Spa. This is where the reveal stops being about ownership on paper and becomes completely literal. Same building, same production line, same tub, different sticker, different price, different showroom floor. And here is the part that ties this entire industry together, the single detail that proves even the brands with genuinely different owners are far more alike than any of them will ever admit. Look inside almost any hot tub, from a $9,000 luxury model down to a bargain tub off a big box floor, and you will find the very same 2 names running the show, not on the outside, on the inside, where buyers never think to look. The brain of a hot tub, the control system that runs the heater, the pumps, the jets, and that little keypad on the rim is almost always built by one of just 2 suppliers, Balboa Water Group or Gecko Alliance. Balboa alone says it has produced over 10 million spa control systems across more than 40 years, and it supplies more than 500 manufacturers and distributors in 47 countries. In 2020, a company called Helios Technologies bought Balboa for over $218 million, which tells you exactly how much money there is in being the part nobody ever sees. Gecko, based in Quebec City, is the other giant, a supplier that has been doing this for more than 30 years and stands as the second largest name in spa electronics. Between the 2 of them, they are the hidden electronics inside a huge share of every single brand named in this video, whether those brands share an owner or not. So 2 hot tubs from what look like fierce rival companies, sitting in 2 different showrooms at 2 very different price points, can run on the exact same control pack, the same pumps, and even the same jets from a plumbing supplier called Waterway. There is one strange upside to this. Because so many brands share the same guts, A repair part from one tub will often drop straight into another, but the flip side is the one that costs you. Very often, you are not paying more for better engineering. You are paying more for a nicer shell wrapped around identical hardware. And once you know that, it changes the questions worth asking in a showroom. Not the ones the salesperson is hoping for. Ask who actually owns the brand. Ask whether the control system is a Balboa or a Gecko. Ask where the shell itself is really built. The answers to those 3 questions will tell you far more than the price tag ever will. Now think all the way back to the beginning. That Sundance and that Jacuzzi you were carefully comparing, convinced you were pitting 2 companies against each other. Same owner. That premium tub and the budget tub you almost bought instead to save money. Same owner. And even the tubs from genuinely separate owners. Same electronic heart beating inside both of them. The illusion of choice runs all the way down to the wiring. Now this does not mean every hot tub is secretly bad, or that these brands are flat out lying to your face. A few makers really are independent. Bullfrog Spas out of Utah, for one, built its entire reputation on a genuinely different jet system and stayed its own company. But those are the exceptions. The rule across this whole industry is consolidation, dressed up as competition and sold to you as a choice you never actually had. So the next time you stand in a showroom or scroll through a wall of hot tub reviews, remember what you are actually looking at. Not a field of rival companies competing for your money, but a small handful of owners wearing a dozen different masks, plus 2 electronic suppliers quietly powering almost all of them. The brands are real, the prices are real, but the rivalry, in most cases, is pure theater. Knowing who actually owns what and knowing what is really sitting inside that shell is the difference between paying for engineering and paying for a badge. If this pulled back a curtain you did not even know was there, hit subscribe, because that is exactly what this channel does. And ask yourself one last question before you spend a single dollar. If 7 of these brands already answer to one company, how many of the other choices you make every day are just the same thing, wearing a different name?